Thank you all for being here and welcome to today's webinar. This is Bree Reynolds, the Senior Career Specialist at FlexJobs, and I'm very excited to be hosting today's event. We're going to be talking all about flexible and remote jobs with three great companies, Erie Insurance, VIPKID, and Appirio. This webinar will be recorded, so you can feel free to take notes and also know that you will get a link to view that recording once the webinar is over. And the recording will be emailed to everybody who's registered tomorrow. So in about 24 hours, you'll receive a link to view the recording of the webinar. I'm just going to go over some housekeeping items before we dive into the main presentation. First of all, like I said, the webinar will be recorded. It's going to go about 60 minutes today, so we'll have some information that I'll share just about the flexible and remote job market, and then we'll hear from representatives at these three companies, and then we will also go into a Q&A session at the end where you'll be able to ask questions of each of the representatives at these companies and hopefully get some great answers from all of them. And so the question and answer session will be probably the last 15 or 20 minutes of the presentation. If you have a question as we're going through all of the different little bits of presentation here, you can ask that question by typing it into the GoToWebinar control panel's questions area. So if you look at your GoToWebinar control panel, you should see a questions area there. If you don't see that control panel at all, look around your screen for a little orange arrow, and if you click that orange arrow, the control panel should magically appear. It likes to hide itself a little bit. It probably thinks it's doing you a favor, but sometimes it's a little more annoying than favor oriented. So yeah, if you look around for that little orange arrow, if you click that, the control panel should appear and you'd be able to ask questions there. We'll try to get to as many questions as we have, and of course, the more general and applicable to the widest audience, the better. So if you have a very specific question about your very particular situation, we probably won't be able to answer that. But if you're able to ask a little bit more of a general question, or if we're able to ask your question in a general way, then we will try to get to that question. There's also a handout that you can download that just has some of the main points of information from this webinar and contact links and things for each of these companies. You can download that handout again on your GoToWebinar control panel. And if you don't see that control panel, of course, click the orange arrow and it'll pop up, and there should be a handout section that you'll see a link to view and download the handout. If you can't download the handout, every now and then we have some folks who, for whatever reason, their setup is just not compatible with downloading the handout from there. We also have a link that we can provide you. So you can just ask for that in the questions area and we'll send you that link. And my coworker Jen is going to be on the back end. Jen Blaze, she'll be handling some of your questions as they come in for things like that, the handout and whatnot. So Jen will be on the case for all of those things. So thank you all for being here, and let's go ahead and talk about the flow of the presentation today. First, we'll talk about remote job trends, and then remote job search tips, just a few brief tips for everybody here that you can apply to your job search as soon as you're done with this presentation. And then we'll hear from representatives from Erie Insurance, VIPKID, and Appirio, and then we'll get to the audience Q&A. And so that's going to be some good information sharing there. So our employer panel, just to give you a brief overview of everybody who's here today, and you'll be hearing from these folks in a few minutes, features folks from Erie Insurance, VIPKID, and Appirio. From Erie Insurance, we have Kirk Rexford and Kim Hurst. They're the Senior Corporate Recruiter and Recruiting Manager for Erie Insurance. And from VIPKID, we have Kevin Klein, who's the Head of Teacher Community US. And from Appirio, we have Rachel Chandler, who's the Team Lead Recruiting Operations and Sales Recruitment. So you'll be hearing from each of those folks on just a few short slides here and getting some good information about the jobs that they're hiring for. So just a little bit about FlexJobs, since we're hosting the webinar, and we know some of you are FlexJobs members already or you're familiar with FlexJobs, so hello to all of you folks. And for anybody who's not familiar with FlexJobs, we are a job search website. We're celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, actually in January, so happy anniversary to us. We list pre-screened telecommuting, flexible schedule, full-time and part-time, and freelance jobs. And so that means every job that you find on FlexJobs is flexible in some way. All the jobs are also professional level, so we try to keep things as sort of clean and easy to find as possible on our site. So if you're looking for a professional level job with some type of flexibility, you can probably find it pretty easily on FlexJobs. We have over 60 staffers who all work from home, and many of us have flexible schedules, so we understand what it's like to work that way, and also what it's like to either need or want, or maybe a combination of both, needing and wanting that type of flexibility in your day. So we're all really dedicated to this mission of helping people find jobs that fit their lives. And since our founding back in 2007, we've helped over 2 million job seekers who've been searching for flexible jobs. We also have a database of over 47,000 researched and vetted companies that you can use whether you're a member or not. You can see that database and do some research on companies to find out whether or not companies that you're looking at have offered flexible jobs in the past. And of course, you would see these 3 great companies that we're going to be talking to today in that database. And you'd be able to see their job posting histories and see what they've posted in the past as far as flexible jobs are, and also what the companies are all about and the types of flexibility that they tend to offer. And we are a membership site, so for those who aren't members or are unfamiliar with this setup, we are a job seeker focused site. So unlike other job boards that are free, we do offer a subscription membership where you can pay either for 1 month, 3 months, or 1 year. And that subscription gets you access to the details for all of the jobs on our site, as well as skills testing and a host of other benefits. But really the main thing is that it gets you access to our very clean, easy to use database of pre-screened jobs. So there's no scams, there's no ads. We list only professional level flexible types of jobs, and it's a really clean, easy to use database. And so hopefully you find some value in that. And we also offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So for anybody who signs up for FlexJobs and just for whatever reason decides that it's not working for them, we do offer that satisfaction guarantee, and all you have to do is ask for a refund and we'll refund that subscription. So that's a little bit about FlexJobs, and I'm happy to answer questions at the end if you guys have any questions about that. But I know that the bulk of the presentation today is what we're all waiting for. So let's get to a little bit of information about, oops, hold on 1 second. There's my, sorry, I just lost the slideshow for a minute. Of course, there's always a little snafu here. There we go. All right, so let's talk about some of the top career fields for remote jobs. So these are, for remote jobs in particular, we took a look at the database to find out last year for all of the jobs that were posted in 2016 that were remote jobs, which also means telecommuting or work from home, which of those jobs or which career fields did those jobs come from? And so we found that these were the top 7 career fields for remote jobs. And so you can see there's kind of a wide variety here: medical and health, computer and IT, customer service, education and training, all the way down to sales, finance, and government. And so it really does cover a big range of career fields. But what should be noted is that this top list here is out of the full number of career fields that we look at, which are 55 career fields. So if you don't see your career field listed here in the very tip top of the ones posting the most remote jobs, there are still many other career fields to look at and many other career fields that are posting telecommuting jobs. So I definitely invite you to check out those other career fields on the site and see what's out there for you. But just to give you an idea of some of the career fields that are posting the most remote work opportunities out there, these are the ones. And then the most common remote job titles. We asked our job research team, which is a group of folks whose job it is to go out and pinpoint these flexible and remote jobs, which jobs were offering the most, which specific job titles were being found for offering the most remote work opportunities. And so they gave us this list of things that they're seeing on a regular basis in terms of remote work in particular. These are the ones that really pop up on a regular basis for job titles. So if you're looking again for remote work in particular, you're probably going to see these job titles popping up a lot. If you don't see your career field, again, these are out of thousands of jobs. So even though these are the ones that have the most remote job titles, it doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't something out there for you. So this is just kind of a good overview of the different types of career fields that we see in different job titles, but it isn't the full story. So definitely do some research to find out what is out there for you. And when you're doing that research, we do have some keywords that we want folks to use and keywords that we want folks to avoid. So this is if you're looking anywhere on the web for flexible or remote listings. There are unfortunately a good number of scams out there, which is one of the things that FlexJobs tries to weed out and not post on our site. But if you're looking anywhere else, you definitely want to be careful about the keywords that you are using in your search. So if you're looking for remote work in particular, this is the area that really does have a lot of scams associated with it. So what you're going to want to avoid are phrases like work from home and work at home. These two phrases were actually designated by the FBI, I think back in 2010, as scam phrases to watch out for. So these scams are nothing new. They've been going on for years and years. And these are the phrases that scammers are most likely to use when they're posting fake job listings for scam work from home jobs. So if you avoid using those keywords, you will help yourself steer clear of the not so good fake job listings out there and find the real job listings. The good keywords that you should use most often in your search are telecommuting, virtual, remote job, and distributed. All of these tend to be used more often than not by legitimate companies hiring for legitimate remote positions. And any sort of combination of these works. So telecommuting job, remote position, virtual job, that sort of thing. Those all seem to pull up more legitimate jobs than that work from home or work at home phrase. So that's just one big tip that you can really, cut out a lot of frustration in your job search and time is by switching up your keywords just a little bit for remote positions. And I also wanted to talk briefly about resumes for remote jobs. One of the things that we do hear from hiring managers on a fairly regular basis is that people who have previous remote work experience or flexible work experience in general, if they show that on their resumes, it really helps. And so of course, we want to ask the hiring reps that we have here today if they have any thoughts on whether experience is really important in the applicants that they're seeing. But we have heard from other hiring managers that it is. So we just wanted to give you some ideas for how to actually point out that you have previous experience working remotely, working a flexible schedule, all that sort of thing on your resume. So here are just some examples from real resumes that we've seen where people have been able to actually say what type of flexibilities they were using in a certain position and if they worked from home or were a freelancer, that sort of thing. So up at the top, the very first one, you can see that this person has just worked it right into that line that describes their job title, the company, the dates that they worked, and then they're an independent contractor and a telecommuter. So you can see very easily as a hiring manager, you'd be able to pick up that that was a telecommuting role and that this person has experience doing that. The second one used a section like technical skills, or however you would like to word that on your resume, the technical area, computer skills section, to point out the types of computer software or programs that they had used for effective telecommuting. This is also a really good way if you don't have specific remote work experience, but you have a lot of experience communicating in the same types of ways that remote workers might communicate, which is email, phone, instant messenger, web conferencing, video conferencing, all that sort of stuff. If you have experience doing that, you can easily fill out your resume a little bit to show that you have that sort of communication experience by putting it on your resume like this. So in the technical skills section, you could list the different types of software or programs that you're familiar with, and also that you adopt new tools on a regular basis, because that is really one of the nice things about remote work is that you're probably always going to be testing out new ways of communicating. So to show that you've done that in the past can really help you, stand out as somebody who's not afraid to try out different technology. And then the final one used this resume used the summary of qualifications section at the top of their resume to point out their extensive remote work history. So this person has their skills and all of that sort of stuff on there, but they have 6 years of experience working remotely and in flexible office environments. And I like that phrase, flexible office environments, because it is sort of all-encompassing. So that might be flexible scheduling, it might be job sharing, it might be remote work experience. There's kind of a whole wide range of things that could fit under flexible office environments. So kind of a nice wrap up to say, I understand what it takes to work this way, and I've done it before. And then they also, in their professional experience section, talked about how it was a full-time work-from-home position. So that's another way you can add it in there. So there's a number of different ways you can put it on your resume just to show that you either have that experience or you have the skills that are necessary to actually do well in a remote or a flexible work environment. All right, so now to the fun part of our presentation, hearing from all the different representatives from each of these companies. So we're going to go in the order that you see here. We'll start with Erie Insurance and then hop over to VIPKID, and then we will end with Appirio. before wrapping up and moving on to the question and answer session. So these companies are going to talk a little bit about who they are, the types of flexible jobs they offer, and then why their companies value remote work and work flexibility, and what they look for in hiring remote and flexible workers. So first up, we have Kirk Rexford and Kim Hurst from Erie Insurance. Hello, Kirk and Kim.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kirk Rexford. I'm the Senior Corporate Recruiter here at Erie Insurance. I've worked with the company for about 3.5 years now and have 25 years of experience in HR and recruiting.
Good afternoon. I'm Kim Hurst. I'm the recruiting manager here at Erie Insurance. I've been with the company for a little over 7 years now, and much like Kirk before that, I spent a couple of decades in recruiting. We're not old. So just to give you a little bit of background information on Erie Insurance, we are a Fortune 500 property and casualty insurance company. We're based out of Erie, Pennsylvania, right on beautiful Lake Erie. One of the Great Lakes, and what we mean by property and casualty is we sell insurance for auto, for home, and for business, and we also have a life insurance company. Erie Insurance has been around for more than 90 years, and we currently operate in 12 states and the District of Columbia. We're mostly in the mid-Atlantic states. We would be considered a super regional carrier, but we do stack up very well against the national insurance companies. Just to give you a sense for our size, we have about 5,000 employees total, and about 2,500 of them, half of them are corporate employees that are based here out of Erie, Pennsylvania, and the other half are field-based in one of those 12 states. You're probably thinking we're here today to recruit salespeople, and that's not the case. In fact, our business model is that all of our sales are done through independent agents. So we have about 12,000 independent business entrepreneurs across our footprint that represent Erie, but they are not employees of the company. We are financially sound, probably one of the things that we're most envied by other companies. We are AM Best rated A+ superior based on our strong financials. So for those of you that are not familiar with AM Best, they do rankings based on the financials of companies in the financial and insurance industries. Just to give you a sense of our sales, which in the insurance world is our direct written premium, we were at $6.3 billion in sales last year. We're fortunate that in an era when many companies are downsizing, we're actually outpacing the industry and in growth. And in fact, just this week, we're breaking ground on a new 7-story, 346,000 square foot facility that will become the largest building on our Erie campus. It's expected to house up to 1,200 employees. So we're all very psyched about that. And while our financials are really strong, what really makes Erie a truly special workplace is our culture. So I'm going to turn it over to Kirk to share with you a little bit more about Erie's culture.
Thanks, Kim. As she mentioned, our strong culture is one of collaborative competition, which means we all strive to be our individual best, but we work to reach the same goal of being the best possible company. We're a very family-oriented company, which is the reason we have an average tenure of around 15 years, and our total turnover is less than 5%. In fact, if you took out the retirements of people who've been here 25, 30, even 40 years, that number would be much less than 5%. Our company motto is that we're above all in service, and we strive to provide the best possible service with every interaction. In fact, our customer care center and our IT help desk have won best-in-class industry awards over the past several years. And our service mentality extends beyond our customers to also include our agents and our coworkers. Many would call us Erie Nice. If you could take a look at our newly refreshed career site if you haven't had the opportunity yet, you'll notice a number of awards, including workplace awards from veteran groups, diversity groups, and the groups that promote a healthy workplace. Another big part of our culture is we're very focused on giving back to our communities, not just through money, although we do give a lot of money. Each and every employee is encouraged to give back to their individual community, and every employee is awarded a full day of paid volunteer time each year.
So now to transition to what we're here to talk about today, flexible work arrangements. At Erie, we feel that flexible work arrangements are truly win-win for everybody. Forbes published in 2016 that there was an 89.5% increases in the searches focused on flexible work arrangements. I'm sure the FlexJobs people are well aware of that. And to make ourselves stay competitive as an organization and attractive to candidates, especially millennials, we've really adapted our workforce to be more flexible and meet the needs of our employees. And flexible work arrangements is one of the ways that we do that. At Erie, about 40% of our workforce has some type of a flexible work arrangement. Could be a compressed work week, a part-time schedule, a flexible work schedule, or a telecommuter. In fact, the majority of our flexible work arrangements are people that work from their home and are based throughout our field offices, our geographic footprint, those 12 states. So I'm going to turn over to Kirk to talk a little bit more about the different types of jobs that we offer flexible work arrangements for.
You'll see a number of jobs listed here on the slide, such as material damage or auto adjuster and property adjuster. Those are examples of people who do work from their home office, have a company car that they drive around in, and they're the people that would come to you if you have a claim to determine the cost of repair or replacement. You'll notice in the second column we have jobs like first notice of loss, customer advocate, inside claims reps. Those are people who would work mostly here in our corporate office in Erie, but would have different scheduling options, part-time, second or third shift, etc. There are some corporate jobs, such as employee relations specialists, training specialists, some of our IT roles that also have flexible options in terms of scheduling and remote work. And finally, our district sales managers, which is a group of people who support our independent agents in the field through both training and agency development. In fact, right now, we have 61 jobs posted externally for people to take a look at, and many of those do include some type of flexible option.
If these sound like the kinds of opportunities that you would be interested in and the kind of company you can picture yourself working at, we would encourage you to not only check out our job postings, but also follow us on some of our social media sites. As you can see, we have a Erie Careers Facebook page, a Twitter page, and a LinkedIn career page where we focus on sharing a lot about what it's like to work here, to really give you a feel for the culture, as well as share career advice as well as career opportunities. So we hope that you follow us and learn more about us. And that is a summary on Erie.
Thank you, Kirk and Kim. That was great. Awesome overview. I think there's some really good detailed information here, and we have some questions coming in, so we'll get to those in the Q&A. And up next, we have VIPKID. And speaking for VIPKID today is Kevin Klein, the head teacher of, let me start that one over, head of Teacher Community US. Kevin, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. So let me jump right in. My name is Kevin Klein. I run the community and all the marketing initiatives for VIPKID International out of the US office. I'm a former high school history teacher, and I've spent the last 8 years or so building teacher communities around the world. It's one of my favorite things to do. I'm actually here at South by Southwest EDU in Austin right now, where we just hosted a meetup of all of our local teachers who teach online. It was a really fun event down on Rainey Street. You can follow my Twitter at Kevin K if you want to see some pictures from the event and get a sense for the type of community we have here. I'm really excited to share a bit more about VIPKID, and I really hope you see a fit, or maybe you know someone who might be a good fit. So we are a fairly new company. We started in 2013, and we're based out of Beijing, China. We also have offices in San Francisco and Shanghai. We have about 2,000 employees in China. And we have some of the top Chinese and American investors on our board. We've recently raised over $125 million. So what VIPKID is, it's the future of personalized instruction, the future of global education. Essentially, it's a platform that allows teachers to teach English online to young Chinese students, ages 5 to about 12. Our teachers are primarily North American instructors, but they live all over the world, and they teach from their computers. We have over 8,000, almost 8,000, probably about 7,000 teachers, and almost 650,000 students on the platform, and it's growing like wildfire. We're just trying to keep up with the excitement. In China, there's a really high demand for American teachers. What's happened is the rapid spread of broadband in China has actually made it possible to bring one-to-one English directly to families throughout the country at a pretty affordable price level, which was once reserved for the top echelon of families, and now more people have access to these American teachers. So that's a brief background on the company, but I'll go ahead and just kind of get into the details about how it works, what a flexible schedule would look like as a VIPKID teacher, and more details about how to get started. So let's jump right in there. So how it works, basically we have a software, and it looks a little bit like corporate video conferencing. And the student and teachers appear in boxes on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll often see the child getting ready for his lesson there, maybe with the parent sitting in the background. And then the images and words appear on the left. The teacher will teach about a 25-minute lesson with almost like 30 slides or so, and the curriculum builds from session to session so a child can develop their vocabulary and their fluency skills. Now, the slides are VIPKID curriculum. So the teacher will go in, review those slides ahead of time, and then after the lesson, they'll provide feedback to the child. What you'll often find is that families in China will watch this video lesson once or twice after the lesson just to see, what happened in class that day. You'll have grandparents watching it as well. So this is how it works. Teachers post their schedule for the week, and we always recommend that they post Beijing times that are peak. So early mornings, weekends, those are times when the kids are home from school in China. And then they go in, they use our Common Core curriculum, and they teach the lesson. And then all the way in China, what parents are doing is they're buying a package of lessons, and their children can then go in and actually select which teachers they like. And that just depends on the child and the student. Some teachers are better with older students or younger students, so it allows them to find a good fit. The teachers have reviews on the platform from other families. The nice part is that you can make a schedule that works for you. And so if you have a second part-time job, you can just teach on weekends or early mornings, but it allows you to pick a schedule that works for you. If you're interested in becoming this type of global educator, there's a couple ways that you can get started. So you'll be an independent contractor, and you'll submit an application, and then you'll go through a multi-step interview process that includes a Skype video call with an interviewer in China. You'll go over some resources, and then a mock class where you'll get feedback on your teaching. So to do this job, it's not for everyone because you will need some teaching experience to be a teacher. But it's important to note that this includes a lot of different kinds of teaching experience. It can be adult ESL instruction, K through 12 experience, even student teaching, extensive tutoring for a particular company, teaching abroad, teaching English abroad, preschool experience. I've even seen teachers who have been really successful because they've had years of Sunday school experience. So our view of the teacher and the background of teaching experience is more broad than just the basic K through 12. The key here is to have some extensive pedagogical knowledge about how kids learn and how to engage them, because what we find is you have to be even more engaging when you're online. So that experience is really important. You'll also need a bachelor's degree. This is important to Chinese families, and have a pretty strong understanding of the American-Canadian school experience, because that's what they're trying to replicate abroad. The good news, at least for me, is that you don't need any Chinese language skills. And the tech setup is a headset, a webcam, you'll need your computer, and high-speed internet. There is an app that you can use to set your schedule, but most of the instruction happens on the computer. Just a little bit of background on the interview process. They're going to be judging your experience in your mock class, and then at the end of that, they're going to be able to tell you your base pay. You'll sign up for a 6-month contract, and you can make up to $22 an hour. You usually have a base pay, and then there's a lot of opportunities for bonuses throughout the contract. If you want to get a better sense of our teachers, what I'd probably recommend is just going to YouTube or our Facebook page. All of our teachers like to make videos to give you tips on how to interview and what kind of works best with the kids and what props they use. So I definitely recommend checking that out. So I just kind of want to end on a brief note. Teachers have found that not only does this opportunity give them flexibility around teaching, but it's also incredibly fulfilling. Whether you're a stay-at-home parent or a retired teacher or a current teacher or traveling as a military family or an expat, you're getting to get your, to use your teaching skills that you have, and you're getting a supplemental income. But more importantly, they're having fun. So they talk about their students all the time. If you look at our Facebook chats, it's always about, what did you learn today, and how are the students even teaching us? The Chinese families are incredibly appreciative. And what's really interesting is that we've created this incredible teacher community around the world, and especially around the US, where they're supporting each other. So they're helping each other become better teachers. And some people say it's the most supportive group of colleagues they've ever worked with. So on that note, I'll close. I'm excited to hear your questions, and I hope you give this a try or share it with one of the teachers you know in your neighborhood.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. That's a great overview. I've always kind of wondered how these things work inside. I get the basic overview, but that was really good. I could really picture, how things actually function. Very cool. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we're going to be hearing from Appirio. Let me just advance the slide here. All right. So today from Appirio, we have Rachel Chandler, who's Team Lead Recruiting Operations and Sales Recruitment. Rachel, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having us. This is our second time joining a FlexJobs call, so we're super excited to be back. My name is Rachel Chandler. I am the Team Lead for Recruiting Operations and Sales Recruitment for Appirio. I've been with Appirio for almost 4 years. We started our office in Indianapolis in 2012. I joined in 2013, so have been around for a lot of the changes that we've experienced. But a little bit of background on Appirio. So we were actually founded in 2006 by 4 individuals that came from various technology backgrounds. Started with a focus on the Salesforce.com or Salesforce ecosystem, and really grew from there to be focused more broadly on the cloud application space. So we celebrated our 10-year anniversary last August as a VC-funded organization, and then shortly after that, we were acquired by Wipro, which is a large global consulting firm. So we are now Appirio, a Wipro company, but we are their cloud application services business unit. So we have specific partnerships with organizations like Salesforce, Workday, Google, and then we have some other ISV partnerships. And we are a services company, so we really work with global organizations to help them create the next generation of worker and customer experiences using the latest cloud technologies like Salesforce and Workday. We have consultants that deliver unmatched customer value by creating actionable strategies that deliver results quickly and help organizations adapt to a new experience-driven area. We do this by harnessing the power of one of the world's largest crowdsourcing communities and thousands of pre-built solution accelerators. So we are a technology consulting organization, but whenever I'm talking to potential candidates about what we do, I really tell them that we're more of a business consulting company. We're just focused on helping organizations become more efficient, more effective, more profitable through the use of cloud-based technology. So we have a couple of different areas to our business. I mentioned actionable strategy. So we provide consulting services around strategy services, both in the CRM, which would be Salesforce, and the HCM Workday space. So this is everything from blueprinting, journey mapping, health checks of certain organizations, etc. From there, in the project lifecycle, we move to implementation and integration. So again, working with global organizations like VIPKID and Cardinal Health and eBay and Facebook to help them implement and integrate these technologies into their environment. The next phase of the professional services lifecycle would be change enablement. So now that we've gone through and we've implemented these new technologies, how do we get the end users to adopt the process changes that are being affected by these technologies? So we offer training around that. We also do support and managed services. So if a customer has already implemented Workday or is implementing Workday or Salesforce with us, if they do not have the internal support necessary for that system, we do have a managed service offering called Cloud Management, which is basically a team of individuals on Appirio that help with administrations, enhancements, etc. So we are globally headquartered in Indianapolis, and then we have offices in London, Dublin, Tokyo, and then in Jaipur, India. We are about 1,800 people total. So prior to the Wipro acquisition, we were about 1,200, and then we rolled their 600 cloud application services employees into our environment. So of the people that we have globally, of the employees that work in the US, which is probably about half of that, about 900, 78% of those are remote employees. So our Indianapolis office only has about 175 employees based in it. I actually work in the Indianapolis office, but I'm actually sitting in my home office today. So I work from home about 3 days a week and then go into the office 2 days a week. So even with an environment that, you know, is one where there's an office for me to go into, I still have the flexibility to work from home. About 47% of our employees globally are remote. So that includes all of our global offices. Flexible work is very, very important to Appirio for a couple of reasons. One, we want our workers to have a great experience. So being able to have a flexible work environment helps our employees to be more efficient. You can work from anywhere. We offer great tools to aid in this, as well as have a better work-life balance. So one of the things that's nice is we're a completely cloud-based organization. We don't have any servers. I have a laptop that I can take with me anywhere I go. So if I'm sitting at the office and log on, or if I'm sitting, you know, on a plane traveling somewhere, everything looks the same. I can get into everything very easily. Also, from a work-life balance standpoint, you know, we don't have a sick time policy. It's basically take it as you need it, don't abuse it. So if I need to get out during the day to go to a doctor's appointment or even to run an errand, I don't have strict working hours. So I don't have to work 8 to 6 per se. But I need to make sure that I'm getting everything done and certainly be available for client meetings, etc. What do we look for in flexible employees? So it's really what we call the thriving Appiarian. So individuals that are passionate, collaborative, people that are change agents, people that are very much that doer, so roll your sleeves up, people that are very customer centric. So as an organization, we're very focused on the customer. We have one of the best NPS scores in the industry or in our industry, and are looking for individuals that can help us maintain that. So some of the types of flexible jobs that we offer, I mentioned kind of flexible hour scheduling. So, you know, there are certain individuals that like to get up early and take calls. There are certain people that like to work later. So we offer the ability to be flexible as long as you're able to, again, adhere to your customer needs. And then we also, you know, offer telecommuting, which is, you know, working remote. A lot of our individuals have very niche skills that we look for. So we do, most of the folks that we hire do have a technology background, either in CRM or HCM, both on the technical and functional side. So we look for niche skill sets. So we allow people to work from home, and then travel is typically in the 40 to 60% range for our clients. We give you all the tools necessary to work from home. So again, laptops, monitors, wireless mice, wireless keyboards, headsets, air cards if you're traveling and need a, you know, a Wi-Fi, etc. So some of the core values that make our team successful are trust and professionalism. Again, we have a relentless focus on customers, on our team, and then on fun. So we are a very collaborative culture. We use tools, mainly Google tools, since we're a Google partner, Google Hangouts, Google Voice, jumping on webinars, WebExes, etc. So although we aren't working always together, we do have the ability to meet with each other visually through video calls. We also like to have a lot of fun. So we have bi-weekly company meetings where we all get together and we go over, new hires on the team. We go over customer stories. We actually look at our scorecard and our financials and look at the good and the bad. And then there's various meetups remotely as well. We have a lot of cities that have a lot of Appiarians in it, but we don't have an office. So we also utilize Chatter. So for any of you that utilize Salesforce, Chatter is a function. It's kind of like a Facebook for Salesforce, but we have the ability to give shout outs and post different activities, post pictures, etc. And then our teams are often working on client sites. So there's travel where they get to go to different cities. Some people have gotten to travel internationally, and there's different events that they do as well. One of the other things that sets us apart is the tools and the technologies that we offer employees. So again, top-of-the-line tools and technologies, choose a brand new Mac or a Dell. We use the Google suite of products, Workday, Salesforce. We're all cloud, so work can be done from anywhere. And then we do offer reimbursement for home internet use, for cell phone use. So that's something that you can reimburse on a monthly basis. We give you money towards fitness, so we want our individuals to stay cloud fit, as we say. So we have a cloud fit program. There's also, again, very competitive vacation benefits, sick time, again, a policy that I mentioned. Don't really have one. Basically, take it as you need it. Don't abuse it. And then volunteer time off. So volunteer time off is extremely important to us. We have a program called Silver Lining, which is something that we've had since the beginning of Appirio. And so every employee gets 8 hours of VTO per year that you can use at your discretion all at once, or 1 hour a day here and there. And then we have another day as a company that we call Future of the Cloud Day, where we take off across the world at the same time to volunteer at different locations. So the flexible work environment, remote work environment, has been a backbone of what we've done as an organization for the last 10 years. And definitely something that we're going to continue to do moving forward. So please check out our website, our career page. As Erie mentioned, we've recently upgraded that and changed that. So you can see all of our jobs posted there. FlexJobs, you can follow us on social media. So we're on Twitter @GoAppirio, Instagram Appirio_INC. You can also follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel, and then we're very active on Glassdoor as well. So thank you for your time, and look forward to any questions that you might have.
Awesome, Rachel. Thank you very much. And I have to say, I'm so impressed by the variety of jobs that these companies are offering. I know our employer team always works really hard to get a good mix of employers on these webinars, and I think this one is one of the really good ones for the number of different types of opportunities out there to really showcase all the sorts of flexible work that there is. So let's dive right into the Q&A. I know we have about 15 minutes left in the presentation, which is perfect timing. Let me just throw up the Q&A slide here so you guys can see there's just information on each of these companies. This information is also on that handout that we've made available, so feel free to grab it from there as well. But let's dive into questions. So the first question, and this is kind of one of those tricky things when companies are hiring for remote work, that each company does a little bit differently, so I'd like everybody to weigh in here. The question has to do with where people need to be located in order to apply for your jobs. And I know this could vary where some people need to be located in certain states or countries, or maybe there aren't any restrictions at all. So I'd like to go around to each of the companies and get a little bit of information on where people need to be located in order to apply for your jobs. So Kim and Kirk at Erie Insurance, how about you folks?
Okay, so I mentioned we're in 12 states in the District of Columbia, and we do require at this point that our employees be based in one of those states. So if I could just take a second, I'll quickly overview those 12 states. We have Sure. Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York, and DC.
All right, awesome. Perfect answer. Thank you very much. And Kevin at VIPKID, how about you and where folks need to be located to apply for your jobs?
Of course, for the most part, they can do it from wherever. We have people in Europe and Asia doing it as well as the U.S. We have a specific list on our website of areas that won't work just because they have trouble connecting with our server, but it's very country specific. So definitely take a look on the VIPKID website for a list of those countries. But for the most part, we have people teaching in almost every different continent.
Awesome. That sounds good too. And Rachel at Appirio, how about you folks and location for jobs?
Yeah, so for U.S. positions, you can be really located anywhere. Sometimes our jobs are a little bit more specific. So for our sales positions, we're usually looking for somebody that's focused in a specific metro area. So that's a little bit more challenging or a little bit more limited. It's usually nice if you're located somewhat near an airport, as you know, if you're far from an airport, it's just going to add travel onto you to get to that airport. We globally, like for Dublin and London and Tokyo, again, look for people that are in those metro areas. But here in the U.S., you can be, as long as you have the skill set and you're able to travel, you can pretty much be located anywhere.
All right, great. This next question is for Erie Insurance in particular. If someone has sort of applicable experience but not specific insurance experience, is that important? Do you require people to have an insurance background, professionally speaking? And also, are there any resources or classes that you would recommend people take to be better candidates as far as getting into the insurance industry?
Thanks. No, I would say we don't require specific insurance background. There are certainly jobs which insurance background will help for, but jobs like material damage, auto adjusters, property adjusters are looking more for a background in auto body mechanical or construction, architecture, those different types of roles. A number of roles look for people with experience in risk management. Of course, our IT jobs look for experience within specific disciplines of IT. In terms of training, if people don't have the type of experience we're looking for specific jobs, we do have a number of classes we run each year in different areas for customer service types of roles, our adjuster roles, underwriting types of roles, where the people can come in without specific experience and be specifically trained in those competencies. So there's a lot of different opportunities to learn and pick up that insurance information as you go.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Kirk. And up next, we do have a specific question for VIPKID and Kevin. This question has to do with completing any sort of minimum number of hours worked each week or each month. Do you all require your contractors to work a certain minimum number of hours, or is it really super flexible and up to the contractor how many hours they're taking on?
It's super flexible. We don't require a minimum hours, but we do find that people who open up their schedule in the peak hours get more regular students, and so they're able to keep those open, but we don't require a minimum at all.
Okay, great. That's very good to know. And then this question is for Appirio in particular. Now where did it go? Sorry, my computer just scrolled it just a little bit. So this question is there any particular degree or background that you look for when hiring for your jobs? And that's for Rachel at Appirio.
So most of our job descriptions say a bachelor's degree or equivalent combination of education and experience. So I think a bachelor's degree is nice. However, if you have the direct skill set for the job description, we're willing to move forward with individuals that do not have a degree. But specific for the roles, our positions are typically very niche. So looking for people that have a background with Salesforce on the functional and technical side, Workday on the functional and technical side. That's the bulk of our roles. So a bulk of our roles I wouldn't even qualify for. But we have various positions in marketing, in HR, in sales, and in not many IT roles because we're a cloud-based organization. So there are some other opportunities. So I would focus more on qualifications listed in the job description versus the degree itself.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I have another question for the whole group, so we'll go around and have each representative or representatives weigh in on this question. This has to do with hiring military veterans. Do any of your companies have any particular programs or things that applicants should look out for if they're a military veteran hiring or applying for one of your jobs? Let's see, Kim and Kirk at Erie Insurance, how about you guys?
Sure, we absolutely value what a military veteran can bring to our organization. So we do some targeted recruiting for veterans. In fact, our Refresh career site has a section dedicated to veterans, but we do a lot of outreach through print ads, through hiring our hero career fairs. We actually have a IT leader, which is a junior military officer training program here that we've had on campus now for about 4 years. Which is hiring people without necessarily the technical skills, but very strong leaders to come into the IT organization, and they have done extremely well and advanced well within the organization. A lot of our training programs that Kirk mentioned, where you don't necessarily need to have the insurance experience, we do a lot of very targeted veteran recruiting for those programs as well. So it's very much at the woven into our recruiting practices and something we value as an organization.
All right, great. Thank you so much. And then over to Kevin and VIPKID. How about you folks and military hiring?
Great question. My colleague James is actually a military vet, and he helped me open up the U.S. office here. I don't think there's anything targeted on our website, but I'll say two things. One is we could probably do a better job of that because there are a lot of similarities in the training. But I think more importantly, we find that this type of job supports military families in general as well. So people who are moving a lot or are abroad, I've found that their partners have been able to do this job as a way for supplemental income. So we are closely tied to it, but there's nothing you're going to find necessarily on our website, but maybe that's something we can highlight in the future.
Okay, great. And I think that's a great thing to point out too, as far as the military families. We definitely see a lot of military spouses and partners coming to FlexJobs looking for work that travels with them, because it is really difficult to hold down a job, as you're being moved from place to place, along with your spouse or your partner who's in the military. So great point. And let's see, Rachel at Appirio, how about you folks and military hiring and or military spouse and partner sorts of things too?
Yeah, so definitely important to us. 2 of our co-founders are veterans. So as it relates to military spouses, or military in general, one of the nice things about Appirio is you can move around. So if I'm in Indianapolis now, if for some reason I needed to relocate to Atlanta, I can do that and keep my position. So there's a lot of flexibility. Now moving outside of the U.S. may be a little bit more difficult, depending on the nature of, where you're moving and, what you're looking to do. We partnered actually 2015 around Dreamforce, which is Salesforce's big user conference. We actually partnered with VetForce, which is their focus on getting veterans into the Salesforce community, and actually did some custom development for them on that solution. So hiring veterans is definitely a focus for us. It's been a little bit challenging because of the niche skill sets that we look to hire for, and the fact that we're a little bit different in that we're not a product company, we're a services company. So a company like Salesforce maybe has a little bit more training for people that don't have a background with Salesforce per se as a technology, whereas we need people that can hit the ground running. So it's been a little bit more challenging to create training programs that are able to attract veterans that don't necessarily have the specific skill sets, but it's definitely something that we're working on and hoping to do more of in the future.
All right, great. Thank you all very much. And this next question is also for the whole group. This has to do with a number of people have asked about home office setup and the type of equipment that you maybe provide or require, and sort of who's responsible for the equipment setup in this circumstances. Again, it's one of those areas where each company has a different way of handling this, so I'd like to hear from each of you as far as what you require for home office setups, and if you provide things, or if it's a BYOB or BYOD, I should say, bring your own device sort of setup, and basically how your company handles that. So Kim and Kirk at Erie Insurance, how about you folks?
Sure. So a couple of pieces to that. Jobs that require the people to travel, as I mentioned earlier, would get a company car that they can use for both work and personal use while they're in that role. We provide all of the technical items that they would need to work from home: laptop, Toughbook, printers. We have the phone line for their home, internet service, etc. And in addition, when a job is actually home-based, when the person starts, they actually go online through our system and order office furniture to set up their home office. So we really provide everything that they would possibly need to work from home.
All right, great. Thank you very much. And Kevin at VIPKID, how do you folks handle home office equipment?
As independent contractors, our teachers gather their own devices. There's a lot of support forums, though, where they have conversations on what works best, how to get the strongest Wi-Fi signals. So they really support each other in finding the best technology. But as an independent contractor, they're in charge of getting their own computer and all their whole Wi-Fi setup.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And then Rachel at Appirio, how about you folks and home office setup?
Yeah, so you are responsible for the home Wi-Fi, but again, as I mentioned, you get a stipend to reimburse for that on a monthly basis. And then we have an IT toolkit that all new employees are able to pick things from as they onboard. So you get to pick between a Dell and a MacBook. You get to pick the monitor you want, any accessories like wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, air card, what are the other things? The headsets, etc. And then that's all shipped to your home directly. And then, yeah, we provide, you need to provide the desk or your working space, but we provide everything else. And then in terms of a cell phone, that is something that you would provide as well. Most of our employees do have their emails going to their phone. So that's why we do allow you to reimburse a portion of your cell phone bill as well. But you would need to supply the cell phone.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much. And that brings us to 1 minute left for the hour. So I want to first thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to the audience. I know there are a lot of questions that we didn't get to, but hopefully the ones that we did tackle at least answered a couple questions in your minds. Thank you all so much for spending this hour with us. Thank you to the reps who were here today, Kim Hurst and Kirk Rexford from Erie Insurance, Kevin Klein from VIPKID, and Rachel Chandler from Appirio. Thank you all so much for being here today and sharing this great information about your companies and your flexible jobs. And the follow-up that I just want to tell everybody about, I know I mentioned that this is recorded, so in about 24 hours you'll be receiving a follow-up email that will contain a link to this recording so you can view it and review it as much as you would like. It'll also contain a link to the handout in case you didn't have a chance to download that today, and it will also offer links to FlexJobs and some of the more pertinent parts of our site in case you wanted to check that out. Right now, after this webinar, we will launch a very brief survey right after the webinar, so if you can just stick around for another 30 seconds or so, you'll be able to fill out that survey, and that really does help us to make these events even better for everybody who's attending. And then you can also find upcoming webinars hosted by FlexJobs on our FlexJobs.com blog. So you go to FlexJobs.com/blog, and then go to the FlexJobs resources section, and you'll see job search webinars and videos. So you can see any upcoming webinars scheduled there, as well as a huge library of videos of previous webinars that we've hosted. In case you haven't attended any of those, you can catch up on different employers who are hiring for flexible jobs and hear what they have to say about their work options. So thank you all again for attending. Thank you very much to our reps again for being here. It was a pleasure hearing about all your different jobs, and I wish everyone the best of luck in their job searches. Thank you all very much.